On a freezing Boston night, three little girls did the unthinkable. Ava, Clara, and Nora, just 6 years old, in tattered dresses, barefoot on snow. They stepped into the city's ritziest restaurant, Seaside Glow, where billionaires dine on dishes worth more than a month's pay. They didn't beg for money. They didn't ask for toys. They asked for a scrap of bread. And who did they face? David Sullivan, tech billionaire, a man with everything, but a heart frozen solid for years. What he did next didn't just stun the restaurant. It changed Boston forever. These girls weren't just hungry. They were running, fleeing an abusive father, a broken home, a system that failed them. Their mother lay in a hospital, teetering between life and death. No one stopped to help. No one saw them, until they stood before David. Can a lonely billionaire open his heart? Or will their story end in darkness? This isn't just a tale of kindness. It's a journey of family, healing, and the power of one moment to change everything. Don't look away. What happens next will bring you to tears. Because sometimes one small act can save an entire life. Boston's winter bit to the bone. Snow fell silently, blanketing the harbor, as if hiding the scars I carried inside. I, David Sullivan, once thought myself invincible. Sullivan Innovations was my empire. Skyscrapers rose from my ideas. Billion-dollar deals, camera flashes, million-dollar handshakes. I had it all: money, power, fame. But each night, as Boston's lights dimmed, I sat alone in my penthouse, staring at the bay through glass. No laughter, no warmth, just me and memories of Detroit, hungry nights, waiting for a hand that never came. I built a wall around my heart, believing loneliness was success's price. I was wrong. That night, at Seaside Glow, Boston's finest restaurant, I sat at a corner table. White linen napkin, a glass of red wine before me. Soft golden light, murmurs of wealthy diners, the scent of fresh-baked bread. I held a piece of bread uneaten. I gazed at the bay, waves glinting under moonlight, feeling empty. This city worshipped me, but no one knew who I truly was. No one saw the boy who slept on cold porches, praying for a crust. I'd locked my past away, but it still knocked, quiet, relentless. Then I heard footsteps. Light, hesitant, like snowflakes touching ground. I turned. Three little girls stood there, small, tattered dresses caked with snow, blonde hair tangled. Ava, Clara, Nora. Their green eyes met mine, not with fear, but a fragile spark of hope. Ava, the leader, stepped forward, voice trembling but steady. "Sir, can we have some bread?" Her words sliced through the wall I'd built. Diners whispered, judgmental glances. I didn't care. I saw their small hands clasped tight, dirt on their knees, politeness born of fear. I remembered Detroit. I remembered me. I pushed back my chair. "Sit down," I said, voice low, warm. They hesitated, eyes darting, as if expecting the world to turn away. But Ava nodded, and they climbed onto chairs, ragged hems brushing white linen. I slid the bread basket over. They didn't dive in. Clara divided it evenly, Nora nibbled tiny bites, Ava watched me, ensuring I wouldn't change my mind. I called the waiter, ordered hot soup, warm milk. When Nora whispered, "Thank you," my heart stirred, a beat I'd long forgotten. "Why are you here?" I asked, voice gentle. Ava spoke, voice breaking. Their mom, Sophie, hurt in an accident, lay in a hospital. Their dad, Ethan Brooks, a nightmare of abuse. They'd fled, hungry, cold, nowhere to turn. Rage flared in me, but I held it back. I looked at them, and a decision formed, not from logic, but from my heart's depths. I called my assistant, Sarah. "Cancel my schedule," I said, voice sharp. "Get my lawyer. I need emergency custody." Sarah hesitated, but I didn't care. I looked at Ava, Clara, and Nora, and knew they weren't just asking for bread. They were asking for a chance to live. I'd give them that, but as I carried Nora to the car, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Watch yourself, Sullivan. Those kids are mine." Ethan Brooks. He'd found us. In Boston's dark, snow still fell. But I wasn't afraid. I'd found my light, and I wouldn't let it fade. Because sometimes one small act can save an entire life. Boston never sleeps, but that night, in Seaside Glow, time stood still. Three little girls, Ava, Clara, and Nora, sat before me. Their small hands gripped the table's edge, tattered dresses dusted with snow. Green eyes met mine, not demanding, only hoping. I, David Sullivan, billionaire of Sullivan Innovations, thought I'd seen the world's darkness. But when Ava spoke, voice trembling yet steady, I realized darkness had never been closer. "We don't have a home," Ava said, eyes shimmering but tearless. I leaned in listening, afraid to miss a word. Her story cut like a knife. Their mother, Sophie Turner, hurt in a highway crash. An ambulance took her, but she hadn't woken. She's in the hospital, Clara whispered, voice tiny, clutching her dress. They say Mom might not. She stopped, unable to finish. Nora, the youngest, bowed her head, hugging a worn teddy bear, silent. My heart clenched. I remembered my mother, nights she didn't come home, a child's silent fear. Where's your dad? I asked, voice low, hiding the anger rising. Ava glanced at Clara, then at me, eyes older than her 6 years. He hurt Mom, she said. He hurt us too. When Mom got hurt, he wanted to take us. But we knew he wasn't safe. Clara cut in, voice quaking. He's looking for us. He always does. I saw their dirt-streaked knees, trembling hands holding bread. I saw myself, a boy fleeing through Detroit's dark alleys. Ethan Brooks. His name burned in my mind, a curse. I pushed the bread basket forward, signaled for more soup. Eat, I said, voice soft. They shared each piece, heartbreakingly polite, as if fearing I'd take it back. Diners around us murmured, curious glances. I didn't care. I saw Ava, Clara, Nora, 3 candles in a blizzard. How did you get here? I asked. Ava's voice broke. They'd escaped a temporary foster group, where staff barely noticed. They wanted to split us up, Nora whispered, her first words, faint as a breeze. We only have each other. A wave crashed in my chest, anger, helplessness, a burning resolve. I pulled out my phone, called Sarah, my assistant. Get the car, I said, voice sharp, and call my lawyer. I need emergency custody for 3 kids. Sarah hesitated, but I cut her off. Now. I looked at them, sipping soup, and knew I couldn't let them return to the dark. You're coming with me, I said. Ava's eyes lit up. Really? She asked. I nodded, heart pounding. Really? But as I led them out, carrying Nora, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Watch yourself, Sullivan. Those kids are mine. Return them, or you lose everything. I stopped, snow falling around me, Boston's lights faint. Ethan Brooks wasn't just a shadow. He was watching. He knew me. I held Nora tighter, saw Ava and Clara clutching hands, eyes worried but trusting. In my penthouse, I could keep them safe for now. Ethan wanted the girls, and he'd burn Sullivan Innovations to get them. I stared at the snow, cold as my heart once was. But now I had Ava, Clara, Nora. I'd fight. Not for money, not for fame. For them. For the small light I swore wouldn't fade. Snow fell silently outside Seaside Glow's windows, but inside me a fire ignited. Ava, Clara, and Nora sat before me, green eyes gleaming with hope. Tattered dresses clung with snow, their story of a mother in the hospital and a father, Ethan Brooks, a nightmare of abuse. Ava's words, he's always looking for us, stabbed my heart like a blade. I, David Sullivan, billionaire of Sullivan Innovations, once thought I could buy anything. Now I wanted to buy these 3 girls a day without fear. I pushed the bread basket forward, called for hot soup, warm milk. But I knew food wasn't enough. They needed more. They needed me. I stood, voice low but firm. You're coming with me. Ava looked up, eyes alight. Really? She asked, voice trembling. Clara held Nora's hand, eyes wary but trusting. I nodded, heart pounding. Really? Diners whispered, judgmental stares. I didn't care. I remembered Detroit, the hungry boy in me never saved. I wouldn't let Ava, Clara, Nora face that fate. I grabbed my phone, called Sarah, my assistant. Cancel my schedule for 2 days, I said, voice sharp. Get the lawyer. I need emergency custody for 3 kids. Sarah hesitated. David, are you sure? This is. I cut her off. Certain. Do it now. We left through the private exit, snow crunching underfoot. I carried Nora, the smallest, as she yawned, head on my shoulder. Ava and Clara held hands, following, eyes a mix of fear and hope. My penthouse, overlooking Boston's harbor, was alien to them. Polished wood floors, soft lighting, but cold as my heart once was. Clara whispered, Your house is so big. I smiled faintly. It's yours tonight, at least. I had Sarah bring children's clothes, warm blankets, turning the living room into a makeshift bedroom. Ava looked at me, voice small. You won't leave us, right? I knelt, took her hand. Never, I vowed, voice a pledge etched in stone. The girls drifted to sleep on the sofa, wrapped in blankets, breathing steady. I stood by the window, watching snow fall, Boston's harbor glinting under moonlight. But my heart wasn't calm. That text from an unknown number seared my mind. Watch yourself, Sullivan. Those kids are mine. Ethan Brooks. He didn't just want the girls. He knew me, Sullivan Innovations, the empire I built. I called Detective Laura Mitchell, voice low. Laura, I need you to investigate Ethan Brooks. He's threatening 3 kids I'm protecting. Laura promised to dig, but her tone was tense. David, Ethan's tied to some business players. He might target your company. Rage flared, but I held it, glancing at Ava, Clara, and Nora asleep. They were my light in the dark. I thought of Lisa Harper, my trusted assistant, privy to every secret, schedules, deals, this penthouse. If she betrayed me, as I'd later learn, Ethan had everything. I clenched my fists, eyes cold as snow. I lost trust in Detroit. I wouldn't lose these girls. My phone buzzed again. A new text. Meet me at the old parking lot, Sullivan. Alone, or the kids pay. Ethan wasn't waiting. He was coming. In the brightly lit penthouse, I stood tall, gazing at the sleeping girls. Snow fell outside, but the fire in me wouldn't die. I'd face Ethan. For Ava. For Clara. For Nora. For the family I never dared dream of. Because sometimes one small act can save an entire life. Snow fell thicker outside the penthouse windows, as if to bury Boston in endless cold. But in me, David Sullivan, a fire of rage burned. Ava, Clara, and Nora slept soundly on the sofa, breathing steady, wrapped in warm blankets I'd arranged. Hours ago, at Seaside Glow, they'd asked for a scrap of bread. Told me of their mother in the hospital, their father, Ethan Brooks, a nightmare of abuse. I brought them here, vowing to protect them. But the text on my phone, meet me at the old parking lot, Sullivan. Alone or the kids pay, cut like a blade at my throat. Ethan didn't just want the girls. He wanted to break me. I stood by the window, Boston's harbor glinting below, but its lights couldn't dispel the darkness in my heart. Sullivan Innovations, my empire, built from Detroit's ashes, was his target. I called Detective Laura Mitchell, voice low, cold as ice. Laura, Ethan Brooks knows where I am. He's threatening the kids and my company. What have you found? Laura's voice was tense. He's tied to shady business circles. We found an account receiving payments from inside Sullivan Innovations. Someone in your company is helping him. Her words struck like a hammer. A traitor. Someone I trusted. Lisa Harper, my assistant, knew everything, schedules, deals, this penthouse. Suspicion gnawed, but I had no proof. I turned, gazing at Ava, Clara, Nora. Ava held Clara's hand, even in sleep. Nora clutched her tattered teddy bear, lips moving as if in prayer. They were my light in the dark, but Ethan wanted to snuff it out. I remembered Detroit, nights fleeing, terrified, no one to save me. I wouldn't let these girls face that fate. I called Sarah, my second assistant, voice sharp. Tighten penthouse security. Cameras on every angle. No one enters without a code. Sarah agreed, but I sensed her worry. I didn't blame her. Ethan wasn't just an abusive father. He was a predator, and I was his biggest prey. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat by the girls, phone in hand, Ethan's text a curse. Old parking lot. I knew it was a trap, but if I didn't go, he'd come here. I thought of Sophie Turner, their mother, fighting for life in the hospital. I thought of my promise to Ava. I'll never leave you. Rage flared, but I held it, not wanting to wake them. I opened my laptop, checked Sullivan Innovations security. A small breach. Someone accessed my schedule, sent to an anonymous email. Lisa. Her name flickered in my mind, a shadow. I wasn't sure, but with each passing second, my trust in her thinned. Dawn broke, snow still falling. The girls woke, Ava tugging my hand. What did you do all night? She asked, voice clear. I smiled, hiding my fear. Just thinking about you, I said. Clara met my eyes, too wise for 6. He's coming, isn't he? She asked, meaning Ethan. I froze, but didn't lie. He wants to, but I won't let him touch you, I vowed, voice solid as stone. Nora, quiet, took my hand, small but strong. I trust you, she whispered. Her words lit a fire, fueling my resolve. My phone buzzed. Laura Mitchell. David, we found Ethan's car near the old parking lot, she said, voice urgent. He's not alone. Signs of a deal, documents from Sullivan Innovations. If true, your company could collapse. I gripped the phone, watching Ava, Clara, Nora play with blankets, laughing. Ethan didn't just want the girls. He wanted everything, my company, my name, my light. But I'm David Sullivan. I survived Detroit. I'd survive him. In the brightly lit penthouse, snow falling outside, I stood tall, eyes cold as ice. Ethan Brooks was about to learn. Touching my family was his greatest mistake. The clock struck midnight, its chime echoing through my Boston penthouse like a warning. I, David Sullivan, stood in the kitchen, the faint smell of burnt pancakes lingering. Ava, Clara, and Nora had stolen my heart, not with pleas, but with green eyes that refused to break. Yet Ethan Brooks wanted to snuff out their light, and I'd be damned if I let him win. Morning light spilled into the kitchen, where Ava perched on a stool, wielding a wooden spoon. Pancake batter splattered her face, and she grinned, undeterred. Clara wiped flour from Nora's cheek, their laughter a melody cutting through Boston's chill. I leaned against the doorway, coffee in hand, warmth seeping into my chest. Just hours ago, at Seaside Glow, they'd asked for bread, shared their pain. Mother Sophie Turner in a hospital, Father Ethan Brooks a violent shadow. I'd brought them here, vowed to shield them. But his text, "Meet me at the old parking lot, Sullivan. Alone or the kids pay," was a blade at my throat. Detective Laura Mitchell confirmed Ethan had an insider at Sullivan Innovations. Lisa Harper, my trusted assistant, loomed in my suspicions. She knew my schedules, my deals, this penthouse. "David, taste this." Ava called, thrusting a lopsided pancake my way. I took a bite, grimacing playfully. "Needs sugar," I teased. Nora giggled, her first laugh a spark in the dark. Clara's eyes, too old for 6, held mine. "You're staying with us, right?" she asked. I knelt, taking her hand. "Always," I promised, voice steady as stone. But doubt gnawed, Lisa's betrayal a venom in my mind. If she'd sold me out, Ethan could be anywhere. I led them to the living room, opening the secret garden. Ava nestled against me, Clara corrected my misread words, Nora sketched, 3 girls by a snowman. Their joy made me forget Ethan, if only for a moment. But I wasn't naive. I checked security cameras, doubled guards around the penthouse. Laura called, voice urgent. "David, we found emails from Lisa Harper. She sent Sullivan Innovations data, your new product launch plans, to Ethan. He's set to sell it to a rival, cripple your company, and snatch the girls in the chaos." I gripped the phone, blood boiling. Lisa, the woman I'd called family. She didn't just betray me. She betrayed Ava, Clara, and Nora. I glanced at them, cutting colored paper, oblivious to the tightening shadows. Detroit flashed, dark alleys, silent fear. I wouldn't let these girls know that terror. I called Sarah, my second assistant. "Lock Lisa's accounts," I ordered. "She's barred from the company." Sarah hesitated. "David, Lisa's at the office, demanding to see you." I froze. A trap. Ethan and Lisa were moving. Nora handed me her drawing, a house for figures. "For you," she said, voice soft but bright. I hugged her, heart racing. "Thank you," I choked out. My phone buzzed. A new text. "Bring the kids to the lot, Sullivan. Or Sophie's next." Ethan knew their mother was fading in the hospital. He didn't just want the girls. He wanted me broken. I stood, eyes on Ava's laughter, Clara's sketches, Nora's bear. Boston could freeze, but I was fire. Lisa could betray, Ethan could threaten, but I had Ava, Clara, and Nora. I'd face them. In this kitchen, scented with burnt batter, I held Nora's drawing, eyes cold as steel. Ethan Brooks would learn. Touching my light was a one-way ticket to hell. Ethan Brooks wanted to snuff out Ava, Clara, and Nora's light. But I, David Sullivan, would burn him down first. Boston's old parking lot lay shrouded in darkness. Flickering streetlights glinted off puddles. I stood in the freezing air, breath forming white clouds. Ethan's text, "Bring the kids or I destroy everything," starting with Sophie, cut like a razor. He knew Sophie Turner, their mother, was fading in the hospital. He had Lisa Harper, my assistant, betraying Sullivan Innovations, feeding him data. But I didn't come alone. Detective Laura Mitchell and her team hid in the shadows. The earpiece I wore crackled with her voice. "David, he's coming," she whispered. I clenched my fists, heart pounding. For Ava. For Clara. For Nora. A black car slid in, headlights off. Ethan stepped out, tall and lean, eyes wild. "Sullivan," he growled, voice low. "Where are the kids?" I kept my voice cold. "You'll never touch them," I said. "Your game's over." Ethan sneered, raising his phone. "I've got Lisa's files," he said. "Your new product plans." One tap, and Sullivan Innovations collapses. "Hand over the kids, or it's done." I stared, Ava's trusting eyes flashing in my mind. Clara sharing bread. Nora's house drawing. "You've lost," I said, voice sharp as a blade. Police floodlights blazed, slicing the dark. "Drop the phone, Brooks?" Laura shouted, gun trained on him. Ethan panicked, lunged for his car. Cops pinned him in seconds. Handcuffs clicked. I exhaled, heart still racing. Laura clapped my shoulder. "It's over," she said. He won't hurt anyone again. They searched his car, found a USB, Sullivan Innovations files, with texts from Lisa confirming her betrayal. Lisa, the woman I'd called family. Her treachery stung like a knife, but I wouldn't let it break me. I returned to the hospital where Sophie lay. Laura called. Sophie had woken from her coma. I entered her room, cold white light on her frail frame. But her green eyes, like Ava's, Clara's, Nora's, burned bright. "Where are my girls?" she asked, voice hoarse but fierce. I sat, took her hand gently. "They're safe," I said. "I'm taking care of them." I told her of the night they asked for bread at Seaside Glow, my penthouse, their laughter in the kitchen. Sophie cried, tears streaming. "I thought I'd lost them," she whispered. I squeezed her hand. "No," I said. "We'll bring them back." Sarah arrived with Ava, Clara, Nora. They ran in, hugging their mom, tears mixing with laughter. Ava leaned into Sophie, Clara babbled about pancakes, Nora showed her house drawing. I stood by the door, watching, heart melting. I remembered Detroit, the boy no one held. Now I had Ava, Clara, Nora, Sophie. But Ethan wasn't the final threat. Laura called again, voice tense. "David, Lisa's gone," she said. "She has allies." Ethan confessed, "Someone else in your company is involved. They're still after Sophie." I looked at the girls hugging their mom, eyes turning to ice. Lisa betrayed me. Ethan fell. But the darkness lingered. In the hospital's stark light, I stood tall, a silent vow. I'd find Lisa. I'd protect this family, whatever the cost in blood. Lisa Harper betrayed me, but Ava, Clara, and Nora saved me. And now, I, David Sullivan, need you, those listening, to help keep their light burning. Boston's hospital glowed with cold white light. But when Ava, Clara, and Nora hugged their mother, Sophie Turner, warmth spread through me. Hours earlier, I faced Ethan Brooks in an old parking lot. He threatened to take the girls, to ruin Sullivan Innovations. Detective Laura Mitchell and her team took him down. They found a USB-proof Lisa, my trusted assistant, sold company secrets. But Laura warned, Lisa vanished. Ethan confessed, another traitor inside Sullivan Innovations, targeting Sophie. Rage still burned in me. Lisa didn't just want money. She wanted to destroy me. In the fragile light of Ava, Clara, Nora. I stood outside the hospital room watching. Ava chattered about burnt pancakes. Clara fixed her mom's hair. Nora offered her house drawing. Sophie, frail but fierce, held their hands, green eyes shining. "Thank you," she whispered as I stepped in. I shook my head. "Not me," I said, voice rough. "The girls saved me." I remembered Detroit, a hungry boy unseen. Ava, Clara, and Nora saw me, not the billionaire, but the man who gave them bread, blankets, a promise. But darkness hadn't lifted. Lisa was out there. Her allies knew Sophie was awake. I clenched my fists, eyes icy. I'd find them. I'd protect this family. Back at the penthouse, I sat with the girls, reading The Secret Garden. Clara leaned against me. Ava asked about their mom. Nora drew another house, now with Sophie. Their laughter was a flame, chasing Boston's chill. But I wasn't naive. I checked security cameras, locked Lisa's accounts. Laura called, voice urgent. "David, we traced Lisa's signal to a warehouse by the harbor. There's a big deal, Sullivan Innovations files, and a plan to attack Sophie at the hospital." I froze. Attack Sophie. They wanted to crush the girl's hope. I glanced at Nora, coloring, and rage roared. "I'm going to the warehouse," I said. Laura protested. "Too dangerous." I cut her off. "No one touches them." I left Sarah to watch the girls, told them to keep drawing. Ava grabbed my hand. "Be careful," she said, eyes worried. I smiled, hiding fear. "I promise," I said, voice steady. But I knew Lisa and her allies wouldn't stop. They wanted Sullivan Innovations, Sophie, the girls. I drove through Boston, snow falling thick, harbor lights dim. The warehouse loomed, dark, rusted. I wore an earpiece, Laura guiding. "Cops are coming," she said. "Don't move." But I couldn't wait. I stepped inside, flashlight sweeping crates. Then I saw it, a laptop, screen glowing. A plan, bomb the hospital, target Sophie. And a message, end Sullivan, starting with the mother. I clenched my fists, blood boiling. "But you listening now, I need you." Kindness isn't just bread or blankets. It's action, standing up when darkness threatens. If you believe in Ava, Clara, Nora, and Sophie and me, share this story. Hit like, comment the moment that moved you, spread the light. In Boston's dark, I swear to protect this family. Lisa, her allies, they'll learn. Touching my light means facing a fire that never dies. Lisa Harper wanted to snuff out Ava, Clara, and Nora's light. But I, David Sullivan, learned kindness is a fire no one can extinguish. The warehouse by Boston's harbor reeked of machine oil, cloaked in darkness. A laptop on a wooden table glowed with a chilling plan. Bomb the hospital, target Sophie Turner, the girl's mother, to break me and Sullivan Innovations. Lisa, my assistant I'd trusted like a sister, had betrayed me. Her shadowy ally was still out there. Hours ago in the hospital, I watched Ava, Clara, Nora hug their mom, their laughter chasing shadows. But Ethan Brooks' text, starting with the mother, and Detective Laura Mitchell's warning about Lisa drove me here. I stood in the warehouse, flashlight cutting the dark, heart pounding. I'd end this nightmare. Laura burst in, police at her heels. "David, get out!" she yelled. But I saw it, a device blinking red, wires snaking to chemical drums. A bomb. 3 minutes, the specialist officer said, voice taut. I didn't run. I held the light, guiding his hands as he snipped wires, each second a hammer blow. With 10 seconds left, he shouted, "Done." The device stilled. I exhaled, but my heart stayed heavy. Laura found a USB in the laptop, Sullivan Innovations files, and a message from Lisa to someone called Shadow. Plan failed. Pull back. Lisa had fled, but who was Shadow? Laura gripped my shoulder. "We'll find her," she vowed. I nodded, eyes icy. I knew Lisa wouldn't stop. Back at the penthouse, I hugged Ava, Clara, and Nora. They drew pictures, laughed, unaware of the darkness that nearly swallowed them. Sophie, stronger now, visited. She sat beside me, green eyes gleaming. "You gave us the world," she said. I shook my head. "The girls gave me a family," I whispered. That day I decided, not just to protect them, to change the world for them. I called Sullivan Innovations team, announced the Ava, Clara, Nora Fund, housing, education for abuse survivors. "No one deserves to live in fear," I said, voice steady. The girls stood beside me, holding signs. "You gave us hope." Ava smiled, Clara clapped, Nora hugged me. The crowd rose, some eyes glistening. I looked at the girls, my heart whole. But darkness hadn't vanished. Laura called, voice urgent. "David, we caught Lisa at the airport. She named Shadow, your CFO, Richard Kane. He wanted to topple you, take Sullivan Innovations." I gripped the phone, blood boiling. Richard, the man I'd trusted. He'd backed Lisa, Ethan, the bomb plot. I faced him at headquarters, eyes like ice. "You lost," I said. He smirked, but police stormed in, cuffing him. Sullivan Innovations wavered, but I didn't care. I had Ava, Clara, Nora, Sophie. I had family. The next day in a Boston park, I played with the girls. Ava threw snow, Clara built a snowman, Nora clung to Sophie, laughing. Snow fell, sunlight breaking through, a promise that light always wins. I learned this: kindness isn't money or power. It's a hand extended, a promise kept, a home for broken hearts. You listening now, act with kindness today. Share bread with the hungry. Hug someone crying. Be light in the dark. For Ava, Clara, Nora, Sophie I did. In Boston's glow, I held their hands, eyes no longer cold. I'd found home, and I'd never let it fade. I once thought darkness would win, but Ava, Clara, and Nora taught me kindness is a flame that burns forever. You, listening now, will you help keep it alive? My Boston penthouse no longer felt cold. Ava's laughter echoed as she tossed a snowball in the park. Clara adjusted Nora's wool hat. Sophie Turner, their mother, smiled beside me. Days ago, I stopped a bomb in a harbor warehouse, thwarting Lisa Harper, my traitorous assistant, and Richard Kane, the CFO who sought to topple Sullivan Innovations. Ethan Brooks, the girl's abusive father, was behind bars. The Ava, Clara, Nora Fund launched, bringing homes and hope to abuse survivors. I thought light had triumphed, but darkness always lurks, and I, David Sullivan, never stopped watching. That morning, I sat with the girls in the living room. Sunlight streamed through windows, illuminating Nora's drawing. A house, for figures, a dog. Ava dreamed of being an artist. Clara wanted dance lessons. Nora whispered about getting a puppy. Sophie squeezed my hand, green eyes bright. "We did it," she said, voice warm. I nodded, heart full. But memories of Lisa and Richard cut like a knife. They'd betrayed me, nearly destroyed everything. Detective Laura Mitchell called, voice tense. "David, we found emails from Richard before his arrest. He hired a hacker, alias Phantom, to cripple Sullivan Innovations. Phantom's still active, targeting your fund, aiming to steal its charity money." Rage flared, but I held it, watching Nora color. Phantom, a new shadow following Lisa, Richard. They didn't just want my company. They wanted to crush Ava, Clara, Nora's hope, the girls who taught me a heart needn't freeze. I remembered Detroit, a starving boy, no one to save him. I wouldn't let these girls lose their light. I called Sarah, my new assistant. Lock the fun systems, I ordered. Boost firewalls. I want Phantom caught. Sarah agreed, but I heard worry in her voice. I turned, caught Clara's gaze. Are you scared? She asked, voice small. I knelt, took her hand. A little, I said, but I'll protect you. Ava chimed in, eyes bright. We trust you, she said. Their words lit a fire, fueling my resolve. That night, I checked security cameras, laptop open, tracing Phantom. Laura texted, hacker hit the fund, but we blocked it. Trail leads to a server in Chicago. Chicago. Phantom wasn't in Boston, but closer than I thought. I glanced at Sophie, reading to the girls, laughter filling the room. I didn't tell them about Phantom. They'd known enough fear. But I swore in that lamplit room, I'd find him. I'd protect the fund, for Ava, Clara, Nora, and every child deserving a home. This story isn't just mine. It's yours, those listening now. Kindness doesn't stop with one person. It spreads like the flame from 3 girls who changed me. You can be someone's light. Share this story. Hit like, comment on a moment of kindness you've seen. Join our community, where every story is a spark. Next week, a new tale of courage will bring you to tears. Don't miss it. Subscribe, spread the light. In Boston sunlight, I hugged Ava, Clara, Nora, watched Sophie smile. Phantom may lurk, but I'm a mountain. And this mountain, for family, will never fall. The hacker Phantom wanted to extinguish Ava, Clara, and Nora's flame. But I, David Sullivan, learned family is a light no one can steal. The Charles River sparkled under Boston's spring sun. Cherry blossoms drifted in our small wedding. No lavish gown, no flashing cameras. Just us, me in a gray suit, Sophie Turner in a simple white dress. Ava, Clara, Nora in green, yellow, pink, tossing vibrant roses. Their laughter rang like wind chimes, banishing the shadows I once carried. A week ago, I stopped a bomb in a harbor warehouse. Lisa Harper and Richard Kane, traitors, were caught. The Ava, Clara, and Nora Fund launched, offering homes for abuse survivors. But Detective Laura Mitchell warned, Phantom, a hacker tied to Richard, targeted the fund and Sophie. I held Sophie's hand, eyes cold yet warm, vowing to love her forever. Ava handed us rings, voice clear. I want Mom and Dad together always, she said, green eyes shining. Clara read a poem, Nora hugged me, whispering, Dad. That word cut like a blade, healing every scar. Sophie gripped my hand, eyes bright despite death's near touch. Together, she said, voice trembling. I kissed her, heart whole. The girls cheered, petals falling, Ava wiping tears, smiling. I remembered Detroit, a starving boy, no one to save him. Now I had family unbreakable. At Sullivan Innovations headquarters, I announced a shift. We're not just tech, I said, voice firm, facing reporters. We build homes, educate kids, starting with the Ava, Clara, Nora Fund. Ava, Clara, Nora stood beside me, holding signs. Hope lives here. Nora hugged me, Clara waved, Ava beamed. The crowd clapped, some eyes glistening. Sullivan Innovations, once a cold empire, was now aflame. For the girls, for Sophie, for broken hearts. But darkness didn't yield. Laura called, voice urgent. David, Phantom hacked your penthouse cameras. He sent a video, Ava, Clara, Nora playing in the living room. With a message, hospital midnight. Bring Sophie or the kids pay. I gripped the phone, blood boiling. Phantom saw the girls. He didn't just want the fund. He wanted to shatter my family. I remembered Ethan Brooks, Lisa, Richard, those who nearly stole this light. I called security. Lock the penthouse, I ordered. Move Sophie and the girls to a safe house. Laura set a trap at the hospital. I looked at Nora's drawing, a house, 5 figures. I swore Phantom wouldn't win. That night, Sophie held me. What will you do? She asked. Protect you, protect the girls, I said, voice cold. Ava ran up, handing me a new drawing. Our family by the Charles. For Dad, she said. I hugged her, heart aching. I'd trap Phantom like Ethan. In Boston's dark, I was a mountain. But this story needs you, those listening. Kindness is a flame you can ignite. Call a loved one you've missed. Share a meal with the hungry. Spread this video to someone needing hope. Hit like, comment your story of kindness, join our community. Next week, a single mom fights the world to save her brother. Don't miss it, subscribe. In Boston's light, I held Sophie, watched Ava, Clara, Nora sleep, their drawing on the table. Phantom may come, but I'm the light. And this light, for family, will burn forever.